Welcome to English Without Limits. In today's lesson, we're going to review some of the things that we've learned in the last section of the course. This is the final lesson in this section. In Lesson 50, we began with a new class in Ukraine and new teachers. And here are some of the things that we've learned in this section of the course. We've learned the imperative voice. We learned to write about ourselves. We learned modals of politeness, negative and positive politeness formulas. We listened to a story called The Princess and the Pea. We learned language for cooking and baking in the kitchen. Prepositions of motion like over and through, between and around. We talked about climate and geography. We learned about count and non-count nouns, asking questions and the right order of words in that sentence, and we learned how to give a negative answer. Then we learned about adverbs of frequency and talked some more about climate and geography. Now, we can't review everything that we've learned in this last section of the course. That would take a very long time. But we're going to review some of the important things. So let's begin by having our teacher, Leson, remind us about the past progressive tense. The past progressive tense is when there's something that was in the past, but it went on for a longer time, and usually there were two things that happened. So let's listen to her as we review the past progressive tense.
So I want you to tell me, we're going to just practice. What were you doing today before you came to class? So say it in a sentence. Before I came to class.
Before I came to class, I was playing.
Oh, I'm going to write that up. Okay, let's read it together. Before I came to class, I was playing. Very good. Somebody else, what were you doing before you came to class today? Before class, let's try that again. Yeah. Oh, whoops. No, before I came. Before class, I was reading. Did anybody read today? You did. I did too. So before class, I was reading. Okay. Now look at this. I'm going to show you this. This is using the past progressive. And I'm going to show you why. Was reading. That is the way that we form the past progressive. So again, we've got, right? The verb to be in the past form plus reading. The verb read plus ing. So I'm going to show you the form of the past progressive. Is this. So the past form of the verb to be, which is was or were, very good, Dima, plus the verb plus ing. Okay, so I'm actually going to put that up on the board. Let's practice this. Here we go. So we'll have our subject here, was, there's our verb, plus ing. So let's start with Lena. Lena was, what's a verb we can use? Playing. Very good. So Lena was play plus ing equals playing, right? Lena was playing the piano. Okay. When it was supper time. Okay? Or before supper, let's say. Before supper. Now something about the past progressive, this is a really long sentence. Something about the past progressive is it shows us time. It shows us the relationship between two things. When was Lena playing the piano? Before supper, right? So this was something that happened continuously. She continued to play the piano before supper. So it shows us relationship of an action happening in time. Okay? That's one rule.
The future progressive tense is very much like the past progressive tense, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it. In the future, there are things that will be happening, they will go on for a longer time, and there will be two things that happen. I could say, for example, I will be cooking dinner when you phone, if I know that you're going to phone at a certain time. And so we have one thing that's going on and another event connects with it somehow. So let's join the class again as they begin to review the future progressive tense.
Okay. All right, so today we're going to look at future progressive tense. Now, sometimes we call this future continuous. Why do we call it future continuous?
Maybe because I will do something.
It's a continuous action, right? Now, remember in the past we've studied past progressive, right? I was going, right? I was cooking. This time, it's in the future. What does future mean?
Either
Was gonna be.
tomorrow,
It will happen, right?
Yeah.
It describes an event that will be happening. In the future, that it hasn't already happened yet, right? And it also describes this event in relation to something else. So I will be going to see my friend after school, right? So will be going, when will I be going? After school, right? So we have the time. There's a time contingent there too. So let's take a look at our handy dandy sheets. When we are making verb construction in future progressive, we use this format. Okay? Will plus be plus our verb, and we add ing to our verb. So this is how we form it. Why am I using will?
Because it's future.
Because it's future tense. It's something that will happen. That's very good. So I will be what?
I will be.
Progressive, so action that continues.
Pick an action.
Swimming.
I will be
Swimming.
when?
Walking.
Tomorrow.
I will be swimming tomorrow. Yeah, and we can even add more detail than that. I will be swimming while you are doing your homework. That sounds like a little more fun.
Let's review this and practice it a little bit together. In the past progressive, you use the auxiliary to be. It's in the past. So for one person, it's was. For more than one person, two or three or more, it's were. Was or were. Then you have the verb, and then you put ing on the verb. I was playing. They were walking. When we put that into the future, we take the auxiliary to be, the same verb, and we put it in the future. Will be, then the verb, and ing. I will be playing. They will be swimming. So we're going to ask you to do an activity now. We will show you a sentence on the screen with a blank. We will give you the verb, and I will tell you, put the verb in the past progressive, or put the verb in the future progressive, and you must give the correct answer. Now remember, if it's the past progressive, it's was or were. If it's the future progressive, it's will be. All right? So listen for the sentence and put the verb into the correct tense. Are you ready? Let's begin. He blank tomorrow. The verb is cook in the future progressive. He will be cooking tomorrow. They blank in the lake. The verb is swim in the past progressive. They were swimming in the lake. We blank to the store. Walk in the future progressive. We will be walking to the store. I blank my homework after supper. Do in the future progressive. I will be doing my homework after supper. Vika blank in the rain. Dance in the past progressive. Vika was dancing in the rain. Sujin blank for her exams yesterday. Study in the past progressive. Sujin was studying for her exams yesterday. Sasha blank football with his friends. Play in the past progressive. Sasha was playing football with his friends. Marta and Tanya blank their new clothes tomorrow. Wear in the future progressive. Marta and Tanya will be wearing their new clothes tomorrow. Daniel blank his father when the rain came. Help in the past progressive. Daniel was helping his father when the rain came. Sasha blank in the rain when he got cold. Sing in the past progressive. Sasha was singing in the rain when he got cold. In another lesson, we learned about modals of possibility. These are the words that express to us how likely something is to happen. Is it definitely going to happen? Or maybe 50% it will happen or not? Or maybe it will not happen. So let's join this teacher as she begins to review with the class these modals of possibility.
Right, modals of possibility. Can you tell me any modals of possibility that you remember? Okay, will, shall. Let's say them together. Let's say will, shall, may, might. That's another one. Might, can, could. Very good. How about there's one that looks and sounds like could. It starts with should. Very good. Oh, and there's a longer phrase, and it is ought to. And then there's also another one. Be going to. Very good.
Let's practice this a little bit together. Do you remember what we learned last time about the order of words? If we are making a request, the order is modal, then subject, then the verb. If we are making a statement, the order is the subject first, and then the modal, and then the verb. I may have, or I may go. And you remember that some of these words express a definite thing, it's really going to happen. These are things like shall, or will, or be going to. Some of them express 90% the idea that something will happen. It's almost definite. These are words like ought to, or should. And the other words would express the idea that this is maybe 50-50. Can, may, might, could, and some people put should here as well. So let's practice this a little bit together. I will read a statement on the screen, and you must say, is this 100%, 90%, or 50% likely to happen? I will pause for you to give your answer, then I will give the correct answer. All right? Are you ready? Let's begin. Mama may go to the store today. 50%. It looks like it could rain later. 50%. Svetlana might want to go swimming today. 50%. My brother will win the race. 100%. The weather should be nice tomorrow. 90%. Dima may want to buy a new book. 50%. When it's cloudy like this, it will rain. 100%. My sister could be the best student. 50%. If it is hot tomorrow, it will be good for us. 100%. The teacher should be here by 9 o'clock. 90%. In another lesson, we learned about adverbs. Adverbs are words that describe a verb. Some of us tell it how it happens, and some of them tell us when it happens, why it happens, or under what conditions it happens. Now, how can be something like quickly, or softly, or slowly. But the other ones can be a single word, or they can be a phrase. So let's join our teacher again as she begins to review these adverbs that tell us how, when, why, or under what conditions something happens.
Do you remember what we talked about last class? Who remembers? We were talking more again about adverbs, right? We were doing a second series of adverbs, and we were learning about adverbs that tell when, why, and under what conditions. Yeah, that's right. We did learn about adverbs that tell how. That was 2 lessons ago. So who can give me an example of an adverb that tells why? I will go home.
I will come home because my bag is cold.
Good, so that's right. So because there is actually a preposition, but we're using it in an adverbial, it's used in a phrase which is functioning as an adverb. That's right, so it's telling us why. How about condition? Who remembers condition? Oh, if. Very good. I can come over if I clean my room. Right? The condition is if I clean my room. Very good. And what about when?
Yesterday.
What happened?
Tomorrow.
Yes, give it. How about in a sentence?
I will go yesterday.
I went yesterday. Very good, nice try. Yeah, yesterday I went to the farm. Or yesterday I went to my friends. Yesterday I went to my grandparents. Very good. Good job. So
Let's review some of this together. The teacher reminded us that in our last lesson, we learned that some adverbs explain when, some adverbs explain why, and some adverbs explain under what conditions things happen. If you're using an adverb that answers the question when it happened, we would use words like tomorrow, or yesterday, early, later, often, rarely, seldom, or never. All these are adverbs that tell us when something happened. If something happens tomorrow, or if something happens often, or if something never happens. That tells us something about it. Sometimes we use a phrase to tell us when it happens. We can say, I brush my teeth in the morning. I do my homework after school. And these phrases, in the morning or after school, they answer the question, when. And remember, some of the adverbs answer the question, why we do something. If I use a phrase to do that, it would be something like, I went to the store. Why? I went to the store to get some bread. Or I could use another phrase. I went to the store because I work there. Or I could use another phrase. I went to the store because my mother told me to. When we say why something happens, we usually use a phrase rather than a single word. And some adverb phrases tell us under what conditions it happened. Once again, to answer the question under what conditions, we usually use a phrase rather than a single word. So I can say something like, I went fishing, and then I would add a phrase. I went fishing in the morning. That would answer the question when. But if I want to answer the question under what conditions, I could say, I went fishing by myself. That is, no one went with me. Or I went fishing with a friend. My friend came. Or I went fishing in the rain. It wasn't very nice fishing in the rain. Or I could say, I went fishing in a big boat. And that would tell you the conditions under which it happened. So now it's your turn. Let's practice this a little bit. I will put a sentence on the screen. In the sentence is an adverb or an adverb phrase. You must identify the adverb or adverb phrase, say what it is, and then you must tell whether it answers the question how, when, why, or under what conditions. For example, if I give you this sentence, Vika does her homework every day, the adverb is every day, and it answers the question when she does her homework. All right? So now it's your turn to do that. Are you ready? Let's begin. Dima does his homework every day. Please pause the video, write down the adverb and what question it answers. Every day answers the question when. Samir does his chores quickly. Quickly answers the question how. Jenny is walking home in the snow. In the snow answers the question under what conditions. We go to the store to get our groceries. To get our groceries answers the question why. We must be quiet so we don't bother others. So we don't bother others answers the question, why? Misha carefully put the dishes away. Carefully answers the question, how? If his mother says yes, Roslan will stay for supper. If his mother